SICARRI.
We are the children of the one Yahweh.
The chosen.
Ye are the chosen of the one Yahweh. And he has given his love to us. Now everything belongs to us.
Alright, first and foremost, I want to say call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. That's all praises to the Most High, and we do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. We are SICARRI set of Phoenix, Soldier Yatazar, Soldier Masha, and we're just going to be touching on some scriptures about the Gentiles that are in the New Testament are actually Israelites. Now, not all the Gentiles are Israelites, right? But the ones that Paul is speaking to in his letters, right, that Yahweh Shai came for, these are Israelites, man. These aren't these heathen nations that, you know, never knew the Most High, right? You know, it has nothing to do with let's see, like Elomites, for instance, right? They don't know the Most High, right? So I mean, the Most High is only dealing with Israel, and we know that for a fact, right? So so we know that the Most High is dealing with Israel, right? Even though we go off and we become under the captivity of particular nations, right? So when we get scattered, you know, the Most High, he does not forget us, right? Bring that out for me.
This is Isaiah chapter 49, verse 13.
Right?
Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains.
Right?
For the Lord hath comforted his people,
Right?
and will have mercy upon his afflicted.
Right? Right? His have mercy on his afflicted, right? Go ahead.
But Zion said,
Right?
the Lord hath forsaken me.
Right, because whenever we would go off, see, if you, like, when you read, like in Judges, right, it shows how we would transgress, we would transgress, the Most High would put us into captivity, right, and then we would call on the Most High, right, and then he would say, bring saviors, right, so this was like an ongoing thing, right, so it was just like a big circle, right, so, you know, at times they were like, the Most High has forsaken us, you know, but keep going.
And my Lord hath forgotten me.
Right.
Can a woman forget her suckling child?
Right. Can a woman forget her suckling child? Like, we are the Most High's children, right? We are we are his people. We are his people. Like, he chose us. He chose the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, right? That's it. It doesn't say anything else about no other lineage, right? Read that again, Slocky.
Can a woman forget her sucking child,
right,
that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb?
Right, go ahead.
Yea, they may forget, yet will I not forget thee.
Right, so that's literally talking about, like it brought up in the verse before, like how they say that the Most High forgot about them, right? But then it goes into talking about, does a woman forget her suckling child? Read that again, Slocky.
But Zion said, the Lord hath forsaken me,
right,
and my Lord hath forgotten me.
Right.
Can a woman forget her sucking child,
right,
that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb?
Right, go ahead.
Yea, they may forget,
right,
yet will I not forget thee.
Right. Like, Israel will forget, but the Most High is not going to forget about us, man. Because why? All Israel is going to be saved, right? You know, so that, I just wanted to bring that out just to get, you know, some, you know, shed some light about, even though we're scattered abroad into these other nations, right? The Most High is still going to be dealing with us, right? He's going to save us, right? Now, just to get to some pointers of who's being talked to in these books in the New Testament, right? Ephesians, Colossians, First and Second Thessalonians, right? These are Israelites that are being spoken to when Paul writing those letters, right? Just to give it, an idea of of who's being talked to, right? Go ahead.
This is Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11.
Right. Let me see something real quick. Where is it at?
This is Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11.
Right.
Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh.
Right. We were in times past Gentiles in the flesh. Right. Now, when was if other nations, right, say like Greeks, Romans, Moabites, right, or other nations, when were they? Hold on, read that last part again.
Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh.
Gentiles in the flesh, right?
Who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
Right. So basically, what's being talked about is the other nations, well, not the other nations, the Israelites that were inhabiting the other nations, right? Were called uncircumcised by those that were actually in Jewry, right? So they weren't considered or identified as Jews or Israelites, right? Because they were doing the customs and serving other gods in those nations that they lived in, that they were born in, that they raised up in, right? Just for instance, right, in Ezra 9, when they married those, when they took wives of other nations, right? The kids that they were having, they were brought up in the customs of those other nations, right? So it was kind of like they were putting a stain on the Israelite. They weren't speaking the same language, right? And this is what's going on with the Gentiles that were scattered abroad that are being talked about in the New Testament, right? What was that last verse you just read?
Verse 11.
All right, go into 12.
That at that time ye were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth.
Right, aliens from the commonwealth, right? Because of what Yahweh Shai was to come to save, right? Who came to save Israel, right? Go ahead.
Of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise.
Right, strangers from the covenants of promise, right? The covenants are for the Israelites, man. All of them, right? It's plural, right? Let me get 1 Corinthians 12 and 2. Right, so it's talking about, Ephesians is talking about Gentiles, right, in the flesh, because they weren't circumcised, right? Because they were in those other nations, and they were taking on the customs of those other nations. They didn't even know that they were Israelites. A lot of them didn't even know, right? A lot of them lived in these other nations, but they knew that they were Israelites. But these Gentiles, they were considered Gentiles because they were following the customs and the ideology of those nations. All right. Okay.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols.
Right. Now, when it says ye were, read that so I can go ahead.
Ye know that ye were Gentiles.
Right. Ye were Gentiles. Right. Go ahead.
Carried away unto these dumb idols.
Carried away to these dumb idols. Right. Now finish that. Finish that verse off, and we're gonna jump to Deuteronomy 4.
Even as ye were led.
Right. So you were Gentiles brought to these other nations. I mean, to these dumb idols. Right. Now, what this is talking about is what happened in the so-called Old Testament, right? So when you go to Deuteronomy 4 and 27, when you go to Deuteronomy 4 and 27, shows, you know, what happened, right? Because we would go, like I said, like we would transgress the laws of the Most High. The Most High would put us, would have another nation come and either take us into slavery or, you know what I'm saying, and this is what would happen, right? And then we would take on the customs, especially what happened with the Canaanites in Deuteronomy 7, right? Go ahead.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27.
Right.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations.
Right, the Lord shall scatter us among the nations, right? Go ahead.
And ye shall be left, few in number, among the heathen.
Right.
Whither the Lord shall lead you.
Mm-hmm.
And there ye shall serve gods.
Right, serve gods of what?
The work of men's hands.
Right.
Wood and stone.
Wood and stone, these dumb idols, right? Keep going.
Which neither see,
right,
nor hear,
nor eat. These
my bad.
These are dumb idols, man. They have no strength. They have no life force. They have no power. They're literally just say if you made something. If you've made this, right, and you put it on a mantle, and you're like, oh, blah 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 blah, whatever, right, and you know, and you pray to this. This thing has no strength, no power, no nothing. It doesn't eat nothing, right? But you pray to it. It's an idol. It's made with a hand. It's made with your hands, right? And that's what the Israelites were doing, right, when they were scattered abroad to these other nations. Right, keep going.
Nor smell, but if from thence
right,
thou shalt seek the Lord thy God.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt find him.
Right.
If thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Right.
When thou art in tribulation,
mm-hmm,
and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days.
Right. So if we get to the point where we know that we're somebody, like, especially when the brothers that teach, right, when we go out to the streets and we teach and we tell people, listen, man, you're an Israelite and you have an obligation and you got to keep the laws, right? When you start to come into this understanding and you start to keep these laws, statutes, commandments, right, you gotta come into this wholeheartedly, right? And the Most High is literally giving you the blueprint on how to come back to him, right? But I just wanted to use that scripture to show that we were the ones brought to these dumb idols. That's what 1 Corinthians 12 and 2 is talking about, right? You were Gentiles brought to these dumb idols. The Israelites were those people brought to those dumb idols when they were scattered into those other nations, right? Just to give you an understanding of what's going on, right? So let's get Hosea 7 and 8, because regardless of what you hear in the church, like, I mean, what does these other nations have to get saved from? At what point were these other nations serving servitude under another nation, right, other than Israel and Israel only, spoken about all throughout the so-called Old Testament, right, and even in the so-called New Testament, right? Go ahead.
Hosea chapter 7, verse 8. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people.
Right, now Ephraim mixed himself among the people, right? Keep going.
Ephraim is a cake not turned.
Right, so this is basically talking about him going into the customs of the nations that he inhabited, that he was around, right? So the northern kingdom, right? They went into idolatry, right? The same as all the other nations. I mean, all the other, when we were brought into those other nations, right, they mingled among the people, especially when, like I said, in Deuteronomy 7, we were supposed to completely wipe out the Canaanites, and we didn't do that. But the Most High said he will leave them to be a thorn in our side, and it literally became that, right? They literally became that. Let me get Psalms 106 and 35. Right, so this is just like, you're starting to see that when we were brought into these other nations and we start to live among these other people, or they're living among us, and we look at them and we're seeing what they're doing instead of dealing with the Most High and the Most High only, and that's who we were supposed to be dealing with. But then we want to go off and sacrifice, to other idols, and things of that nature. Basically, going to idolatry and spiritual fornication with other nations' gods and stuff like that. Right. Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 106, verse 35. But were mingled among the heathen and learned their works.
Right, so this is talking about, basically, like in Deuteronomy 7, we're supposed to take out the Canaanites. But we mingled among the heathen, right, and learned their works, right? Learning their works basically became like how they became. Let me get Proverbs 3 and 31. Right, so like I said, when we were scattered abroad, we were scattered to these other nations, right, and we became intermingled with them. We took on their customs, right? Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor,
right,
and choose none of his ways.
Choose none of his ways, man. This is some wisdom right there that you're not even supposed to be taking. Like, these people are oppressing you. Why the hell are you gonna start acting like them, right?
Right,
especially nowadays at the so-called white man, right? We live in the white man's
King.
Yeah, exactly. This so-called white man's kingdom, right? He runs everything, right? This is his. This is America. This is his. Like, we just happen to live here, right? We gotta follow his rules, but damn the so-called white man and his rules, right? Because we're here to serve the Most High. But we're not supposed to, do what the heathens do. We got to do what we do. We got to do as Hebrew Israelites, right? So just to get an understanding, a full understanding, especially in the we get First Maccabees 1:11. To get a full understanding, right? We got to go into the Apocrypha, where it actually shows when a lot of this stuff was actually going on, especially before the so-called New Testament, right? When the Greeks started to come into power, and they were doing a lot of things where they were setting laws and things like that. We're actually going to get into that, but the Greeks started to come into power, and it's going to show. We get into some scriptures where it shows where we start to actually act and do the things of those heathens, right?
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. God. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men,
right,
who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Right, so these heathens that are round about us, right, there's wicked niggas, wicked Israelites that want to go out and make a covenant with them. Sounds like, modern day, right? Oh, let's just be cool with the white man, Tom and Bill are cool, man. Like, nah, damn Tom and Bill, man, because when the race wars pop off, it's gonna be, damn you, I'm gonna just, we're gonna be with our own people, and that's what's gonna happen. So we gotta deal with our own people. So keep going to the next slide.
For since we departed from them,
right,
we have had much sorrow.
What does it sound like? It sounds like when we came out of Egypt, right? We came out that great nation, right, with the mixed multitude, and everybody was murmuring about how they used to have their fill with the flesh pots, and I'm like, y'all were under the servitude of a whole nation, but yet we are free now. You know what I'm saying? You got the Most High on your side, but yet you want to go back in servitude because you had it good and you had your full, but now you're in the wilderness and your clothes and your raiment, your shoes aren't even withering away because the Most High got you. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
So this device pleased them well.
Right.
Then certain other people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them the license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
Right.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
According to the customs of the heathen, man, like a gymnasium type. You know what I'm saying? And you know them Greeks are just filthy, disgusting homosexuals, man. You know what this dude's name? Alexander the Greek or Alexander the Great, whatever. Dude was a blatant homosexual, man. This man was disgusting, right? The white man is a filthy, disgusting homosexual, right? So he died from a disease, right? Their exercises, was it wrestling? The Greco-Roman wrestling and stuff like that. They would do this type of thing naked with oil on. You know what I'm saying? That's disgusting. That's nasty, right? But what are the Israelites doing, right? We're building a gymnasium to do the same damn thing in Jerusalem. But that's bugged out. That's going on. Go ahead.
And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant.
Right? Go ahead.
And joined themselves to the heathen.
Man. They literally said, damn all of that stuff the Most High told us to do, and how we're, God's chosen people, and how we're above everybody. And let's be like the heathen, man. We out here butt naked wrestling with each other. Like, come on, man. Go ahead.
And were sold to do mischief.
Right, sold to do mischief, man. This is the wickedness of our own people, man. Right? And it literally said wicked men came out of from Israel to persuade other Jews to do this stuff, man. To persuade other Israelites to do the same thing. Right? It sounds like a lot of these coon niggas that they that want to be buddy with the so-called white man, and say that white man's not so bad. Yeah, he is, man. Yeah, he is. Like, I don't know who the hell told you he wasn't. Let me get saying first Maccabees 141. Because what I'm saying now, and it's like not to get off topic. No, I'm not getting off topic, but I'm kind of rambling. But to get back to what's happening, right? It's gonna further explain certain things that were put in place, right? So it caused a lot of Israelites to turn away from the law, statutes, commandments, right? Because of these wicked ass Greeks, right?
This is First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom, right, that all should be of one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agree.
All the people should leave their laws. So leave your way of life and be like us. Be like the heathen. Be like how the Greeks are, right? Forsake the Most High and do away with everything that He told you to do, but be like us, right? Go ahead.
So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
Right.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to this religion.
Hold on. Read that last part again. Let's see what it says again.
Yea, many also of the Israelites
keep going,
consented to his religion.
That consented to his religion, man. They literally said, let's follow the king. Let's do what he wants us to do, right? What verse?
Verse 42.
Okay.
Yeah,
so the Israelites consented to do what the king wanted them to do, man. You literally...
It's lucky that was 43.
That was 43, that's fine. That's right. We're going to go to 50. That's right. Read a little bit. So, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get back into it, right? Keep going.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols,
Right.
and profaned the Sabbath.
Right. Profane the Sabbath. Right. Go ahead.
For the king had sent letters by messenger unto Jerusalem
Right.
and the cities of Judah,
Right.
that they should follow the strange laws of the land,
Right. Strange laws of the land. Right. Keep going.
and forbid burnt offerings,
Uh-huh.
and sacrifices,
Right.
and drink offerings
Right.
in the temple,
Right.
and that they should profane the Sabbath and the festival days.
Right. Now listen, then you literally doing away with your whole heritage, man.
Right.
Your whole culture is. He's literally telling you to like, hey man, listen. Damn what you got going on over here. Follow me and our wickedness and our blatant homosexuality. Right? You know, don't do what the Most High told you to do. Don't follow your laws. Keep my ways. Right? This is this is exactly why I brought out Proverbs 3:31. Right? Envy not your oppressor. Right? And choose none of his ways. But yet you have wicked ass Israelites that have done this, and they do it now. Right? Keep going.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
Right?
Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols.
Right?
And sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
Right? Sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, man. These you literally, you're not even, they're at the point where they're forsaking everything the Most High told us to do. And they're becoming the heathen, right? And I'm going to get a scripture about that. But it's coming, but like, go ahead.
That they should also leave their children uncircumcised,
Right?
and make their souls abominable with all manners of uncleanness and profanation.
Right, so it's saying that they would keep their children uncircumcised, right? Now, like I brought up in about Ezra 9, right, where they took wives and the children grew up in those customs, and they couldn't even speak the language, right? They couldn't speak Hebrew. This is literally the starting point, right, of what's gonna happen. It's like the trickle. It's like the snowball effect, right? The children are brought up in the ways of these other nations, right? And then what do you think happens after, when they have children, right? They're like, well, this looks like America. We came on, like our ancestors came on the boat, right? They knew who they were, but then they had kids over here, and all the children knew, the offspring knew was slavery, and what they were brought up doing and keeping and the customs and stuff and things of that nature. It's literally the same thing, right? So we literally were losing our heritage, right, and becoming like the heathen, right? What verse is
We're on 49.
49. All right.
To the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
Right.
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king,
Right.
he said
Right.
he should die.
Right. So, listen, man, there's a whole bunch of scared ass niggas that will rather do what the white man tells them to do than, be an Israelite or just be amongst your people or like that. So, but back then you would get killed if you didn't do what the king said. So it's literally scare tactics. They're using scare tactics to convert you, right? And literally this is what they did when we were slaves also. Scare tactics, man. They would choose the strongest male, basically.
Buck breaker.
Yeah, exactly. Buck breakers, man. You know what I'm saying? They, break them down. And they'll take the strongest one and then do all this nasty wickedness to them in front of everybody, right? To as a scare tactic, man. And this is just one of the many things that the so-called white man does to our people, right? And he's very, he's known for this type of thing. Let me get First Maccabees 2:18. Now, even though there were a lot of Israelites that consented and forsook the covenants and the laws and the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, right, in favor of being compliant with the so-called white man. But there were some that said, damn you, white boy, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just damn you, I'm gonna keep the Most High's laws. Who the hell are you, right? Slakia.
You said 2 and 18. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay, comment. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 18. Right. Now therefore come thou first, right, and fulfill the king's commandments, like all of the heathen have done. Right. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends. And thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold.
Right, so it's a bribe. They're using bribery now, like not only the scare tactic of you killing. I mean, you getting killed if you don't convert, but they're also using money, right? And a lot of niggas just will do whatever for money, right? Because we see it now. It doesn't mean it didn't happen back then. It very much so did. Like look at Judas, right? But keep reading.
And many rewards. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice. Right. Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments.
Now hold on. Now it said these nations. Hold up. Where you at?
We had right here.
What was that? 19.
At the bottom.
All right. So when it's talking about all these nations, right? Literally the nations that the Greeks were taking over, right? But Jerusalem and Israel was part of that, right? But this particular person is identifying, he's gonna speak on something, right? Go ahead.
Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the commandment of our fathers.
Right. So keep going.
God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances.
Right. God forbid that we should walk away from what the Most High taught us as a people, right? Gave us, man. You didn't just do this with anybody else, like just any, plain Jane or Tom, Dick, and Harry, man. It was us, the Israelites, you know what I'm saying? The lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did this and gave this to us. And y'all just gonna do away with it for some damn pocket change and or your life. You know what I'm saying? Right, what verse you on?
We're on 22 out.
Alright, finish up 22.
We will not hearken to the king's words,
right,
to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left.
Right, so there's no way on God's green earth that we're going to walk away and forsake the Most High's law, statutes, commandments to follow this goddamn white boy and what he tells us to do. Just because you dangle money in our face and you have either money in my face and then a blade in your other hand, because it's either either or, you know what I'm saying, you're going off regardless, right?
Can I interject real quick?
Go ahead.
And if you look at today's society, right, you got people that are pro Second Amendment, right?
Right.
And they say, I will not comply, right?
Right.
And what are they saying they're not going to comply to is to the Democrats or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's primarily our people, like, that be voting them in or whatever.
Oh, yes.
And then they be taking away what they feel is their rights, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like they feel like they're losing their culture, and they're like, I won't comply with that. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing right there, kind of.
Our people literally put our trust in the so-called white man, like he's there to save us. Like, man, like that's
It's madness.
you know what I'm saying? Trying to put your what is that? can't remember. No, I don't. I'm not gonna get.
I know what verse you're talking
I'm not
about.
gonna get it, but it's like, okay, yeah. Let me get Maccabees first. Second Maccabees, 6 and 1.
6 and 1. Okay.
I'm gonna read 6. You know, because after the bribery and the death threats, right, that were offered to us as an option to convert to the heathen is heathenistic a word?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay. To the heathenistic ways, right? So you literally, they're giving you options. They're giving you options, but listen, man, the wrong option can get you killed, and that would be totally fine because you're not forsaking the Most High, right? But also you would do some other things, right?
You said first Maccabees, right?
Second Maccabees 1 and 6.
Second.
Second Maccabees 6 and 1.
Second Maccabees 6 and 1. Okay, that's a lot. Yeah, good. Give me just a second. Alright, I got you. Second Maccabees chapter 6 verse 1.
Right.
Not long after the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the law of their fathers,
Right.
and not to live after the laws of God.
Right. Now hold up. Now this is specifically saying, let me see. Hold on, was it 6 and 1? Now, it doesn't necessarily say if that old man was actually Israelite, was an actual Israelite, but more than likely it was. Somebody of our own people to compel us to convert and do what Massa tells us to do, right? Like the house nigga, you know what I'm saying?
I would have to imagine it was, though.
I think it was.
Because when,
because that's the one that's talking about where he tells them to eat the pork, but they'll change it into
Khan, that was Eliezer. Or Alzar.
But yeah, so they sent one of our own people, literally, right, to try and convert us. And literally, you have this now, like nowadays, this is very, you got our own people try to compel us to do certain things which we know damn well we should not be doing, especially if it's coming from the so-called white man, the goddamn devil, right?
Like you said earlier, or read earlier, you know what I'm saying, with people being bribed, the Hollywood stars of our people,
right?
You know what I'm saying,
right.
Coming out telling us take the shot, do all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because you got brothers that are literally passionate about waking our people up and telling them who they are according to the scriptures, but then you got some nigga that used to be that's still either doing wickedness, but they'll look up to them and listen to what they have to say, like it's the right thing, like you're gonna get some damn powers or whatever on December 21st or whatever the hell it was, like you're gonna get some powers. Niggas like, get out of here, bro. Like, see, this is what's wrong with you niggas, man. You don't listen, man. You know, you follow some other nigga, he's gonna say some madness and he's gonna get you killed. But if you follow the laws of the Most High, man, you be all right. But it's like, just read that from the jump.
This is 2 Maccabees chapter 6 verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, and not to live after the law of God, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympus.
Right. So they got this old man coming to us, telling us to literally forsake everything, right? And call our temple Jupiter of, what is it?
Jupiter Olympus.
Jupiter Olympus. Goddamn idols, man. Greek idols, right? You know what I'm saying? In our temple, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, right?
And a lot of our people still into that because they what's them astrological signs or whatever?
That's all Greek.
They all Greek gods, named after Greek gods.
Damn zodiac signs, man.
Oh yeah, that's what they call zodiac signs. Right.
You know.
And that in Gerism of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. The coming in of his mischief was sore and grievous to the people.
Right.
For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places.
Right. You see, like these Gentiles, right? Now these Gentiles are the Greeks. They were coming into our temple and basically creating a whorehouse of our temple, right? That's why I said, not when you bring up Gentiles, it doesn't always mean Hellenized Israelites. Gentiles. I mean, there were Israelites that were of other nations that are Gentiles, that were considered Gentiles, right? And then there were actually Gentiles, like the Greeks and the Romans, and these you know, so-called white people, Elomites. Like these are other nations. Like if you go into I can't remember the scripture, but if you go into the so-called Old Testament, I can't remember the scripture, and you look up. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. But when you keep reading, I'll look it up. They have the word Gentile, right? The word in the Hebrew is goyim, right? Literally just means nations, right? Literally just means nations. There's nothing specific or special about it. It just literally just means nations. And then where they use the word Gentile, the word goy is used also when it says nations. So it's literally the same thing, right? It's just a translation. But keep going in that slide. You want to read to 6.
It had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that brought in things that were not lawful. The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth.
Right.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days or ancient feasts.
Right. Hold up. Read that over again. Read that over again.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath. So they were implementing laws to make it illegal for you to keep the Sabbath, right? To keep the holy days, right? Keep going.
For a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts.
Or ancient feasts, man. We got to be doing these feasts that we got to keep, man. Passover, you know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
So you couldn't, like, they were putting about laws where it would be illegal for you to even keep the Sabbath, the feast days, or call yourself a Jew or an Israelite. So literally, they're making it so you're either gonna they have laws that are put in place where you are, you know, you if you call yourself an Israelite, keep the Sabbath, you do these things that you're supposed to be doing, it's illegal. They're bribing you with money to convert to their wickedness, right? And they're threatening you to be killed if you don't, right? It sounds very familiar, man. It sounds like what the white man's been doing to so-called black people for hundreds of years, right? You know, I never seen the show Roots at all, but you know, when Kunta Kinte's getting whipped, man, the white boy is giving the damn crackers, telling them your name is Toby, right? You know what his name was, but then he broke, right? Toby, right? So you literally like, and then with that, with the laws, when the slaves were freed, quote unquote freed, right? They implemented laws where it was illegal for them to either to loiter. So like they had nowhere to go after being sent off the plantation, so they were just standing around. So there was laws in place where if you were loitering, they would arrest you. So it was a lose-lose, and that's literally what's happening right here with the Israelites when they were among the Greeks, man. They were putting these laws about. They were getting threatened. You know what I'm saying? People were dying. All for you to convert and basically turn away from your heritage, turn away from your culture, right? And this is literally what happened to these Israelites. That's just the stepping stone of what was happening to these Israelites. Not to mention that when we were scattered into the other nations and we took on those customs and completely forgot who we were, and then now we're a Roman, right? We call ourselves Roman. Paul called himself a Roman, right? You know what I'm saying? But he knew he was a Benjamite, right? You know what I'm saying? We're like, if you look, I got another scripture too. Let me get Matthew 18 and 15. Now I'm gonna give you an instance. This is Yahweh Shai speaking too, right? But
you said 15?
Yeah, 18 and 15.
18 and 15.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the 18 and 17. But and this is what what was going on when say in like Acts 2, right? There were Jews from all nations, right, that came to Jerusalem to worship, right? These brothers were from all nations, man. They were scattered to these nations, right? But they knew who they were, right? That's because they came to Jerusalem to worship, right? Ethiopia, I can't name them all right now, but literally they were from all nations, right? Speaking the language of those nations. They understood. Actually, we're gonna have to go there, man. Let's go to Acts real quick. Acts 2. So I can hold that.
Mm-hmm.
And then just go to Acts 2 real quick, just because I'm talking about it, so we just get an understanding of it.
Verse 1, Acts 2?
We just start at verse 1.
Okay. This is Acts 2, verse 1.
Right.
And when the day of Pentecost was fully come,
Right.
they were all with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues, like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them, and they were all filled with the Holy Ghost,
Right.
and began to speak with other tongues.
Right. So this is where it starts to explain what's going on, right? So keep going.
As the Spirit gave them utterance. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men,
right? Go ahead.
out of every nation under heaven.
Out of every nation under heaven. So when you tell somebody that Israelites are scattered throughout all corners of the earth, right? But then some of them don't know who they are. Therefore they are considered to be Gentiles. How is that? Like, how does that sound weird? But yet you can have spiritual Israelites, right? This is very plain and simple to understand that there were Israelites scattered across the four corners of the earth that started to do and act like those nations. But then there were Israelites that lived in other nations that knew that they were Israelites, right? But then they knew that to keep the laws and the statutes, right? This is very plain and simple to understand, right? Where you at, real quick?
We're at 6.
just wanted to give the understanding because they were Jews from all nations, right?
Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded because that every man heard them speak in his own language.
Right. So these Jews were from all these other nations, all these different nations, but they came to Jerusalem for the day of Pentecost, right? To worship, right? So when they heard these disciples that are under the Holy Ghost, right? So they were of the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues. So they were speaking in the language that they were raised or they were born, right? They were speaking in different languages. That's what speaking in tongues means. But yeah. So these Jews were from other nations, right? Now this is a scripture that Yahushua is talking about right now. It's going to give you an example of how to deal with your brother, right? How to correct your brother, right? And how to act towards your brother if he doesn't take this particular correction, right? Right.
This is Matthew chapter 18, verse 15.
Right.
Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his faults between thee and him alone.
Right.
If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother.
Right.
But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more,
Right.
that in the month of Slaki, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established.
Right. So you get witnesses brought, because if your brother don't want to listen to you, you're gonna get these other witnesses to give him some understanding too, right? Keep going.
And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church.
Right.
But if he neglect to hear the church,
right, if he neglects to hear you, the witnesses you brought, and the church, go ahead.
let him be unto thee as an heathen man.
As a what?
As an heathen man.
As an heathen man. Now that word is heathen, pagan, Gentile. Heathen, pagan, Gentile. Right? This is what that word means. Treat him as like he is of the other nations. So how is it that Israelites can't be of the other nations, man? Yahushua is literally telling you to treat this brother, who is your own people, like he is a heathen, man. So listen, man. It's very simple. And if you don't like the Apocrypha, I don't care. We don't care. If you don't like the Apocrypha, right? We deal with the Apocrypha because it's Yahushua quoted the Apocrypha, so that's enough for us to plus there are other books that continue in the Apocrypha, right? But anyways, but yeah, there's just some scriptures about how the Gentiles, specific Gentiles that are spoken to in the New Testament, are Israelites that are scattered to the other nations that were living as the heathen nations and worshiping idols and doing the things of those other nations, but they were still Israelites, and that's why Yahushua came. That's why Yahushua sent the disciples out to these other nations to compel these Israelites to come back, right? Teaching them that they're Israelites, how they have to keep the law, statutes, commandments, so on and so forth. So, with that, I want to say, call Allah, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, Shalom.